Hey guys, thanks for stopping by today. Today we're going to be making a Scary Fairy Terrarium, and you're going to need some supplies from the Dollar Tree. You're going to need 4 picture frames, you're going to need skeleton garland, some feathers, some butterflies' wings, whether they're decorative or if they're Halloween. You're going to need some moss, you're going to need some lights, and you're going to need hot glue, you're going to need hot glue gun, you're going to need scissors, and you're going to need a pinwheel. And anything else that you would like to add to your Scary Fairy Terrarium. I added some moss and even some succulents. So it all depends on what you want to put in your Scary Fairy Terrarium. You could pick up some Halloween decorations from the Dollar Tree as well, and maybe switch out the succulents for some flowers or whatever it is that you may want. But those basic things that you see in this picture are the things that you're going to need to make your Scary Fairy Terrarium. So the first thing we have to do is make the terrarium or enclosure for our scary fairies. So I'm going to be using these 4 frames from the Dollar Tree and basically be making a box. So what I'm showing you is that you need to, of course, take your picture frames apart. You're going to save 2 of these black backings that I'm showing you from the picture frame, because those are actually going to be turned into your base for your fairy garden. Also, this is optional. I glued my glass into my frames because you'll see the little black tabs that I keep kind of showing you in this. If you push them back down to hold your glass in, they show from the front of your terrarium, and I just don't care for that look. I don't know, you can maybe do something with that. I don't know, it's supposed to be scary. It is Halloween. Maybe it'll give it a little ambiance, but I don't personally like that look. So I'm just going to glue my glass into my frames. And you can use any size frames you want. I just got the taller ones because I wanted my little terrarium to be kind of tall. But as you can see, I'm just going to put some glue in the 4 corners of the frame, and then I'm going to lay the glass on top of that. I just want to pre-warn you that Dollar Tree glass is not the thickest, nor is it the strongest, and it does not take much to break the glass in these frames, and I actually did break one. I think I'm showing you that now. Yes, see, it cracked a little bit, and all I did was take some hot glue and just dotted it along the little crack there so that it didn't splinter or fall out. And I was like, I'm leaving it, I'm keeping it. It's part of Halloween. It'll give it some ambiance. Broken glass kind of goes. So just a warning, be careful with the glass in your picture frames. So now we're going to make our box, and that's really all you're doing, is you're making a box out of picture frames. So I'm going to put some glue on one side of my frame, lay the other frame on top of it, and hold it there for about 2 minutes or so with some pressure until they adhere. And like I said, you can use hot glue or your E6000. I used hot glue, and let me tell you, my little terrarium, it came together pretty good there. So the next thing we're going to do is make our base, and what I'm showing you is to take one of those little metal pieces out that you're going to use in the very back of your terrarium. I'm going to show you why you're going to remove one of those in a minute, but I'm showing you that the backing of those, one of those isn't full enough to cover the whole base bottom of the terrarium, so I'm actually going to need 2, and I just hot glue them side by side, see, and then I cut them to the shape of the terrarium, and it's perfect. It fits perfect. And like I showed you here, I moved one of those little metal pieces because that's the little hole we're going to thread our lights up through so that we can light our Scary Fairy Terrarium. I mean, come on, it has to be scary, it has to be cool, and you gotta have fairy lights with your Scary Fairy Terrarium, right? So I accidentally laid her terrarium on top of the lights, but see how they got the little lip there? It's like a natural little lip. It's perfect for the bottom of your terrarium. So I'm just going to take the lights soon as I figure out that, you know, I laid the terrarium on top of them, and I'm going to start feeding them through that little natural little hole there that was left there after I took the little metal piece out. It worked perfect. And then after you get the lights threaded through, if you're going to use moss and such and you don't want it to come like back through that little hole, after you got the lights thread through, you just take a little piece of Scotch tape and tape that bottom. It'll hold your lights in place, and it'll keep any moss or any decorative material that you're going to use on the bottom of your terrarium from coming back through and getting on your floor, your counter, or wherever you put your little scary fairy terrarium. It works perfect. I was so happy with this. Now all you have to do is turn them on and you have a lighted scary fairy terrarium. Now to move on and make our fairies. To make your fairies, you're just going to be extremely creative and use your flair to make your scary fairies. I like scary cute, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this skeleton garland. I think there's 4 fairies on each garland, the butterfly clips and the feathers that come from the Dollar Tree, and those are the products that I'm going to be using to make my fairies. Like I said, I like scary cute, if that's such a thing. So the first thing you're going to do is you got to get the fairies off of the string. All you do is you just clip that little part that they're attached to right off their head. It comes right off. Don't throw away that jute. Again, you're going to see at the end, you can use this, it's optional, but save the jute for the end because I'm going to make one of my fairies fly, and in order to do that you need that jute string. So once they're released from the string, you're going to take some hot glue and just glue it on the back of their breastbone, so to speak, however you want your feathers or your wings to be displayed, either out or back. I took 4 fairies, so I have 2 fairies where their wings are out and 2 fairies where their wings are back. I did 1 fairy, as you can see right here, with the feathers that come from the Dollar Tree, and then my other 3 fairies will be using the butterfly wings from the Dollar Tree. I wanted a mixture. You guys could mix them both. You could put some of those feathers on and then glue some of those butterfly wings on top of that and have like a mixed feather butterfly winged fairy. You can have them coming off the top of their head. They're supposed to be Halloween scary fairies, so you can be as creative in this part as you want. The feathers from DT are not the greatest, but as you can see, they make a pretty cool fairy. So he is my feathered fairy, and then like I said, my other 3, I'm going to be using the wings off of the butterflies. Now I slowed this part down just so you can see. The butterflies are actually pretty easy to work with. They're butterfly clips, so all you have to do is just basically pull that clip off the back of the butterfly, the little silver clip. And then with just some finesse, it takes a little bit of strength, but don't pull too hard because you don't want to bust the wings. But basically the wings just kind of come right out of that little foam body that they have it in the butterfly. It's just like a little foam body. I'm sure you guys have worked with these before. With a little bit of finesse, they come right off that little body. And I also clipped the top part of the head of that butterfly off that has the little antler sticking out. See it? And so 2 of my little scary fairies actually have antlers because I kept those little antlers and glued them to the top of their heads so that they looked more like butterflies. So what I'm showing you here is you can either do just like the feathers, you can glue it to the back of like their breastbone and make the wings outward like that, or you can glue it in where their like backbone is like that, and you can have the feathers going outward, which is a really cute look too. So like I said, I did 2 with the wings out and 2 with the wings kind of facing backwards. So I sped this part up because it's so easy, guys. You're just gluing wings and feathers on to your little fairy guys to make them scary fairies. But again, you can take this up to a whole nother notch. Your creativity. You can make them really scary. You can paint them. You can make them black. You can paint them green. You can make them look like aliens. You can do anything that your little heart desires. I was even thinking about breaking up with glow sticks and painting them with glow sticks, and they would glow like at night and stuff. So like I'm telling you guys, you probably can get like a whole new level of crazy with your fairies because it's Halloween. You can take them to a whole new level. So that's completely up to you, but I think they turned out really cute. Now that I have my fairies made, I just want to show you that you can also get these mason jars from the Dollar Tree, and if you want, you can stick one of your fairies in there and make it look entrapped. You don't have to make one of these big old terrariums if you don't have the space, because after I made the terrarium, I realized how big it was, and I was just like, maybe some people wouldn't have like space for that. Now, the fairies are going to fit in there perfect, but if you take one of these little skeleton guys, they will fit in that mason jar from the Dollar Tree perfect. And you put a lid on it, and it still looks like one of your little, fairy guys is trapped inside of a lid. I mean, not a lid, an encasing, and it still would give you that Halloween feel. You can put some rocks down in there or some moss or whatever yourself. You don't have to make one of these big, huge terrariums. You can put them in something smaller. So really and truly, there are some different ideas that you can use for this besides making this huge, like, boxed terrarium. I just wanted to throw that out there in case you're like, ugh, that's really, really big. You can use one of the mason jars from the Dollar Tree. I also have one of these decorative bird cages that I keep some of my succulents in, and I thought it'd be really cute to stick one of these little scary fairies in there as well, with maybe a succulent or a pumpkin or whatever. I thought it'd be really cute too because it looks like it's trapped in there. I'm trying to show you, get a better view. And listen, if you wanted to, you could put the lights around it. You could paint this. You could scuff it up and make it look black. You could take this little decorative bird cage to a whole nother level as well. So I just wanted to throw those couple ideas out there. You don't have to make a terrarium. If you have a mason jar or a decorative bird cage or anything else of that nature that you want to throw some paint on and scuff up and make more scary, put lights on, garland, whatever you can think of, you could put these little scary fairies in just about anything and make it look adorable. The next thing we're going to do is begin to work on our terrarium. Put your moss down, place your lights where you want them. I did a couple different things. I moved my lights around. I did them up and down the frames of the terrarium. I was like, I didn't really care for it. So by the end of this, I ended up just kind of gluing them all the way around so it looks like the moss was lit up instead of the lights running up and down the terrarium. So it just takes some time. You have to fiddle with it. You have to play with it. Get it to where you like it. Add your succulents or flowers or maybe a little Halloween house. I know the Dollar Tree had some of those. Maybe you want to make a little graveyard scene. Whatever you want to do and put in your terrarium. I'm sorry my camera kind of goes in and out there with the blurry, but I just wanted to show you it's all in what you like and how you want it. I wanted it to look more like a terrarium, so I used succulents. And like right now, I'm just playing around with the lights. Like I said, I'm trying to figure out how I want it. So once you have all of that done, now this is where you're going to use the pinwheel. You're going to take you're just basically going to cut it in half. It's so easy. You cut it in half, and then you're going to take the bottom half of the pinwheel and you're going to glue it to the back. I'm going to walk around so you guys can see, hold it up closer to the camera here for you. You're just going to glue it to the back of your fairy, and that'll give your fairy a stand to be able to actually stand inside the terrarium. And that's it. I did it to two of them. Because one of my fairies is going to fly and the other fairy is going to sit in my terrarium. But what I did notice is to get them to completely to stand, I just cut a little piece of cardboard from the backing of the leftover picture frame, and I glued a backing to the bottom of the pinwheel pole, and then that kind of gave it a base, and they stood up completely straight inside the terrarium. So I changed up the angle so you guys can see better, and what we're going to do is we're going to take that leftover jute that the little skeletons came off of, and we're going to glue a piece across to make sure it's really taut, very tight, because there's going to be some weight on it once we tie our little fairy to it. So after I have it glued in place and make it very tight, and I let the first layer of hot glue dry, I do go back over and add a second layer on top of hot glue because I really don't want my string to break. So once you have your little string glued across, you're going to take another piece of that jute wire and you're going to tie it to the fairy. Once you have the string tied to your fairy, like so, you're just going to tie that piece of string to the string that we just strung across the terrarium. I'm so sorry about my camera. I don't know why it's having so much trouble focusing. But all you're going to do is just measure how far down you want your fairy to be flying in your little terrarium, tie it to that string, make a nice tight knot, and cut off any extras, any extra that you have left, and you got yourself a flying fairy in your terrarium. It is so stinking cute. Okay, lovies, this is my finished Scary Fairy terrarium. I added some pumpkins, a candle, a couple little bottles to give it a little flair. I even glued that last little Halloween butterfly to the outside of the terrarium to give it a little something something, added a couple succulents, and I think it turned out so cute for a Halloween DIY. I don't like creepy scary, although this could be considered creepy scary. I like cute scary, so this kind of fits my personality. I can understand how it could be creepy because it's like, you stuck some fairies in a terrarium and they died and turned to skeletons, but it's still cute. I just wanted to show you I stuck a little succulent in the back there and one in the front, and because of the fairy hanging on the jute string, you can actually change its direction. So you're going to see that as I do different little takes here, you're going to see that that little flying fairy changes direction. Like one scene he's flying to the side, the other scene he looks like he's going to fly through the glass. So there he is, he changed direction. So you can do all different kinds of things with this, but I think you guys get the gist of what a little Scary Fairy terrarium is supposed to look like. I had a blast with this. I just did. I had so much fun with this. I hope you guys like it. There's what it looks like in the dark. I just love it. The lights really bring it to life. I hope you guys like this DIY. Everything came from the Dollar Tree. It was super cheap. I can't wait to do another one with you guys. Until next time, do what you love, take care of you, and I will see you in the next Halloween DIY. Bye guys.